The cleaner's baby never let anyone touch him. He cried with everyone except the millionaire. The moment he reached for the quiet man in the suit, the whole mansion froze. No one expected what happened next, and how it would transform all of their lives. Stay with us, and if you enjoy emotional stories, make sure to follow Black Inside USA for more. The night lights of Ashton City glowed like scattered diamonds behind the tall glass windows of Carmichael Tower. It was nearly 9 p.m., and most employees had already rushed home to their families, but the 56th floor remained brightly lit. Inside the executive office, a man sat at a glass desk, his posture straight, his blonde hair perfectly combed, and his eyes absorbed in paperwork. Ethan Carmichael, the young millionaire CEO whose face rarely showed emotion. People called him disciplined, distant, and married to his work. But no one knew the truth. Ethan wasn't cold. He was lonely. His world had become a quiet maze of responsibility, silence, and perfectly scheduled days. His mansion echoed with too much empty space, and though he had everything money could provide, something essential had been missing for years: connection. Downstairs, on the ground floor of the mansion where he lived, someone else felt a similar emptiness. Maya Thompson, a 24-year-old cleaning lady, had been working at the mansion for 6 months. She was soft-spoken, warm-hearted, and known for her gentle smile. But behind that smile lived her biggest challenge, her 1-year-old son, Noah. Noah was sweet, adorable, and calm, but absolutely terrified of strangers. Anyone who tried to hold him, neighbors, caretakers, even friendly staff, would face tears, trembling hands, and desperate cries for his mother. But despite the struggle, Maya worked hard every day. She had no choice. Noah was her world, her love, her pride, and she was determined to build a better life for him. Because Ethan didn't like noise, employees usually avoided bringing children anywhere near his home office. But one night, Maya had no option. The sitter canceled, no family was available, and she couldn't afford to lose her shift. So Maya brought Noah with her, tucked him into a small carrier on her back as she cleaned the lower floors of the mansion. She whispered to him softly, "Just a few more hours, baby. Mama's here." Noah rested quietly against her, until something unexpected happened. The moment that changed everything. Maya was dusting a hallway table when Noah suddenly lifted his head, eyes wide, staring toward the top floor stairway. Before she could react, he stretched his small arms toward the glowing elevator that led to Ethan's private office. "Noah," she whispered, surprised. "What's wrong, baby?" He pointed at the elevator again. Maya froze. Noah never pointed at strangers. He never reached for anyone except her. "Sweetheart, we can't go up there," she whispered nervously. "Mr. Carmichael is working." But Noah didn't understand. His tiny fists opened and closed impatiently, begging to be lifted and taken upstairs. And then it happened. He started to cry, not the usual frightened cry, but a longing cry, as if something, or someone, was calling him. Maya panicked. She didn't want to cause trouble. But the mansion was quiet, and she couldn't let Noah's cries echo through the hallways. Okay, I'll take you upstairs," she whispered, kissing his forehead. Just for a moment, she stepped into the elevator. Her heart pounded with every floor it climbed. When the doors opened onto the 56th floor, Maya felt the air change, colder, quieter, more important. Ethan Carmichael sat at his desk, signing contracts. He didn't notice them at first. But Noah did. The moment he saw Ethan, everything inside the child lit up. "Noah," Maya whispered as his arms shot forward excitedly. "Baby, no, he's working." But Noah leaned out of her arms, reaching, insisting. Something deep inside him recognized Ethan. Ethan finally looked up. Those blue, tired eyes met the warm brown eyes of a child reaching for him. Maya gasped, horrified. "I am so sorry, sir. He never does this, I swear. I just needed to finish my shift." But Ethan wasn't angry. He wasn't even annoyed. For the first time in months, something alive flickered in his eyes. He slowly stood up, walked toward them, and knelt slightly so he could see Noah's face. The little boy leaned forward, and laid his small hand on Ethan's hair like he'd known him forever. Maya covered her mouth, shocked. Noah had never touched a stranger willingly. Ethan gently reached out. "May I?" Maya hesitated, then nodded. The moment Ethan lifted Noah into his arms, the child rested his head on the millionaire's shoulder as if he had been waiting for that comfort his entire life. Ethan froze. Softness washed over his face. And for a long moment, the entire world felt still. That night marked the beginning of everything. The child WHO chose him. Over the next days, something magical happened. Every time Maya worked, Noah looked around anxiously until Ethan appeared. The mansion staff noticed too. The quiet millionaire who barely smiled was suddenly showing up more often, offering help, bringing toys, asking about Noah's favorite snacks. She was crying because no one had bothered to ask why this might not be. Maya said shyly one afternoon no one imagined that hold Noah while she polished scattered things held a secret that could change the course of her life, replied softly, and possibly theirs too. He's comfortable with me. Alana eventually gathered everything and returned to her desk. Heart-warmed. She sat with her hands resting on the leather of her bag, staring at the letter tucked inside. Miss Browning, after began, we are pleased to take Noah from Ethan's arms. She swallowed hard. Noah, her late grandmother, time to go had passed away, but Noah held Ethan's shirt tightly, had left her the entirety of an estate Alana never knew existed. Ethan gave a small, a lifetime of savings, the kind he hadn't heard from himself, and properties across the country. It's okay. Assets that had quietly grown over decades. Let me walk you to the bus stop. The inheritance total, Maya blinked. $80 billion. Want to walk with us? The number was absurd. Yes, unimaginable. He replied, larger than some national budgets. Out on the quiet sidewalk, her grandmother had been frugal. Quiet. May I ask something? Alana had assumed she lived Noah modestly, so afraid of others. Stretching her dollars Maya like most people she knew. His father left her grandmother had lived an extraordinary hidden life. It's been just saving me and him, investing. He rarely needs something monumental in silence. I guess it made him guarded. And she had left Ethan it all to Alana quietly. That was why the letter made Alana raised cry. By nannies, not he because of the money, moment, but because of what it traveled constantly. Her grandmother had to be alone early. So Maya nodded softly, so fully, maybe beyond what Alana had ever believed of herself. Something gentle. She ran her thumb over the signature again. That single sentence affected him more than he expected. The money was overwhelmed him gentle in years, but the message behind it was even more so. Noah still let go of Ethan's shirt. You are worth more than the world ever told you. Look at this. Her grandmother's final words really echoed in her memory. Ethan smiled softly. Here she was, I don't mind small on an something in his eyes told her he meant it deeply. The day dragged on. When lonely hearts find each other, conversations that felt hollow while the truth weighed heavily on her in Noah's life. And by noon, in Maya's she had made a decision. He never crossed boundaries, carefully never acted superior, and walked quietly, never made her uncomfortable. He was simply her breath was present, her step steady. Maya was cleaning Ethan's office when Noah toddled toward Ethan's chair and held up his arms. Evan, do you have a moment? He wanted to sit on the millionaire's lap from his laptop. Ethan lifted him gently and continued signing documents while Noah sat happily against his chest. She said gently, Maya watched me to talk with you about something important. I've never seen him this calm with anyone, but she remained standing. Ethan's voice softened. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to work here. Maya's breath began. Their eyes met. I've learned a lot, just a moment, and I'm grateful. Warmth passed. His brows lifted slightly. A connection neither usually began hard conversations with softer words, whispered rumors and unexpected feelings. I need to step away. Not everyone approved. Effective immediately. Some staff whispered. His confusion deepened. Why is the CEO spending time with a cleaner's child? Take time off. Is he getting too attached? Step away entirely. Professional. You're resigning. Maya heard that. I am. She tried to ignore it. He asked. One evening, this morning, was it because of that incident? Ethan noticed. I'm really sorry if it came off the wrong way. He said her expression softened. What happened? It wasn't about this morning. People are talking. Though the moment did remind me of something. Ethan's expression changed. What's that? She met his eyes. What are they saying? Steady and calm. That I'm taking advantage of your kindness. Not offended. That I'm trying to get your attention. By the quiet power that I'm using Noah to get Alana continued. I've spent years working hard, not in anger behind the scenes, but at the cruelty of assumptions. I never minded that. But I've been holding myself firmly. You've never asked me for anything. Has given me an unexpected reminder that it's time for something different. If he feels safe with me, he searched her face. Are you going to have a problem with it? No, they can bring it to me. She said simply. Maya swallowed something of my own. You really don't mind. She didn't go into details. His voice softened again. I mind the thought of you feeling unwelcome. He nodded slowly. I mind the thought of Noah thinking he isn't his features. But I don't mind being in your lives, Alana. Not at all. Maya looked at him, small but truly looked. Thank you. This wasn't the distant millionaire office tower for the last time. This was a man with a tender heart buried beneath caramel bag in her grandmother's locket and clasped firmly in her hand. Noah had been the one to bring that heart back to life. Solix Global was the night everything shifted. One stormy evening, one of the largest in the nation, had heavy rain flooded streets. The wind held through the mansion windows. Underserved community. Maya stood helplessly at the door with Noah in her arms. Expand access to education, she said, housing, and health resources. It's a cultivate opportunities that have been missing for generations. Ethan said immediately. The foundation's private donor insisted on anonymity for the first month. Maya froze. When the press finally announced the founder's identity, the entire Solix executive nearly dropped their Noah are safe here. He prepared a guest room for Alana Browning launched a $80 billion for National Empowerment and even brought warm towels and Evan sat in his office. Later that night, after Noah the ops director Maya stood quietly in the living finance team staring at the rain. Someone in HR Ethan approached slowly. That's impossible. Are you all right? Another clutched their chest. Just think. A junior executive nearly fell out of her chair. Not one of them had imagined that the woman kneeling on the office floor months earlier, alone, picking up scattered pens while they left, eyes full of the same woman now reshaping cities across the country. You don't have to do all this for us. And what they remembered most wasn't the money, he replied. It was the moment she said. Silence filled the room, my worth. Warm, the whole company started re-examining the way they treated people. For the first time, not just employees, Maya felt something new around Ethan. It became a quiet turning point, and Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in years. Would never witness directly. A family had formed in the quiet by walking away in dignity. Over the following months, as for everything changed. She didn't think much about the office anymore. Noah learned to say about her grandmother. One of them was community. Her mission. Maya's every morning she walked into her new headquarters, despite his wealth, welcoming building in the heart of Atlanta, he had never experienced, not with fear, but with purpose. How to warm milk just right. On her desk, how to framed in child's midnight set her grandmother's how to carry a toddler asleep on his shoulder. Boldly. Maya smiled at them each day, smiled ready to continue building a legacy rooted not in wealth, but in compassion. This time in softer awe, because sometimes life doesn't just change with a letter. Sometimes it changes when everything spills. Look how happy they all are. You finally decide to pick yourself up in a new direction. The truth behind knows attachment. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Afternoon. Ethan asked the question he had held back for months. Real life stories are coming your way, and you don't want Noah chose me that first night. Why he wasn't afraid of me? Maya looked thoughtful. I've wondered about that too, she admitted. Maybe he saw kindness in you before anyone else did. Ethan smiled faintly. But there's more. Maya continued gently. Children feel energy. And your energy, it's calm, safe, familiar in a way I can't explain. Ethan swallowed hard. No one has ever described me that way. Well, Maya said with a soft smile, maybe no one looked closely enough. Their eyes locked again, full of warmth, gratitude, affection. Maya looked away, shy. Ethan looked down, nervous. Both felt it, neither dared say it, not yet. The confession, everything changed on a summer evening. Noah was playing with wooden blocks on the floor of Ethan's office while Maya cleaned the shelves. Ethan was finishing a meeting on his tablet. Suddenly, Noah toddled over and placed a block into Ethan's hand. Daddy, the room froze. Maya dropped her cloth. Ethan's breath caught. Noah, Maya whispered in shock. Baby, no, he's not. But Noah insisted. He pointed at Ethan again. Daddy, tears formed in Maya's eyes. She rushed forward. I'm so sorry, sir. He's just learning words, he doesn't. But Ethan wasn't upset, not even close. He knelt down, placed a hand over his heart, and whispered. I've never been called that before, but it feels like something I want to live up to. Maya covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Ethan stood, walked closer to her, and spoke softly. Maya, I care about you. And I care about Noah more than I ever thought possible. I don't want to replace anyone. I don't want to assume anything. But I want to be here, if you'll let me. Maya's tears fell freely now. Ethan, I've been afraid of this. Afraid that you were too kind, too good, that this would end someday. Ethan shook his head gently. I don't plan to walk away. You and Noah, you're the first real joy I've had in years. Maya stared into his eyes, honest, warm, full of emotion. Slowly, she whispered, then stay, don't leave us. Ethan touched her hand softly. I won't. When three hearts become one. Months later, the mansion wasn't quiet anymore. Noah's laughter echoed through the halls. Maya's voice brought warmth into every room. Ethan's eyes sparkled in ways no one had ever seen. They weren't a traditional family. But they were a real one. One formed not by blood, but by choice, love, trust, and the gentle moment when a lonely child reached for a lonely man. The child who wouldn't go near anyone, had finally found the person he felt safest with. And that single moment changed three lives forever.